Welcome to Take a Hike with Good Samaritan United Methodist Church. Our reading this week by Lance Moore from his book Outdoors with God is for week 2. This is passages from chapter 22, which he calls Boating Buddies. Today's scriptures. The first comes from 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 3 and 4. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Second passage comes from the Older Testament book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Robert Fulghum wrote a classic entitled All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, filled with the sage advice for adult living based on the lessons we learn as toddlers. One of the jewels he offers is to find a buddy and hold hands when we cross the street, reminding us, of course, about the great value of friendship. This is a biblical principle. Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves, and a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. We would do well to honor it. Having friends who golf, fish, and hunt with you is one of the keys to a full life and even to spiritual growth. The Bible begins with this lesson. When the first human was created, God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." Genesis 2:18. The vast majority of Bible heroes were not loners. Besides the support of good wives, most of the men of the Bible had golfing buddies. Moses had Aaron, David had Jonathan, Elijah had Elisha. Jesus, in addition to his disciples, had his friend Lazarus, and Paul had Barnabas. And with the women, Naomi had Ruth, and Mary had Martha. We could cite many more examples. A moving account of biblical friendship is the story of Ruth and Naomi. Naomi's husband had died, and a financial hardship forced her to pack up and move back to her homeland. Her daughter-in-law, Ruth, made her famous statement of faithful friendship immortalized in song and on plaques. So, that wherever wilt thou goest, I will go, is one such song. So Naomi did not have to travel alone. Ruth's friendship for Naomi brought Ruth to a new land where she met and married a good man named Boaz. And they all lived happily ever after. But the interesting thing about the story is that from the marriage of Ruth and Boaz came the lineage of the house of David, and thus the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. The Messiah was literally the product of a devoted friendship hundreds of years before Jesus' birth. And Jesus reciprocated. He said in John 15, verse 15, "I no longer call you servants. I have called you friends." If social isolation harms us physically, it probably harms us spiritually too. Jesus, Moses, Daniel, and other spiritual giants would regularly retreat for private prayer, meditation, and devotional time with God. However, no one in the Bible is portrayed as a spiritual lone ranger. Time alone with God was always meant to improve the time spent in the company of friends. One of my best friends lives hundreds of miles away, but the knowledge that he is and always will be like a brother to me is a source of great comfort and strength. Absentee friendship works, however, only after years of spending time together. Each time you invite a buddy to join you on a camping trip or on the golf course or in the fishing boat, you are investing in the friendship bank for future days. If a time comes when, because of physical disability, you are unable to carry golf bags together or launch the bass boat, you will still be able to pick up the phone and call your friend. So as you take a hike today, first of all, bring to mind the specific names of friends which have blessed you all the way back from childhood through all your years till now. Maybe even say them aloud as you go along. Secondly, watch and be alert for symbolic or perhaps even real signs of friendship around you, meaning maybe you spot two squirrels playing, or a flock of birds in a tree. What signs of friendship can you spot along your hike today? And lastly, consider how friendship with Christ has changed the world, more importantly, how it has changed you. You may stop and pause this recording right now, go take your hike, and then come back and resume it for a closing prayer. Today's prayer. Oh, dear Jesus, thank you for calling me friend. Forgive me for taking my friendships for granted. Help me to be more mindful of the importance of maintaining strong, deep relationships. Help me show love and forgiveness to my friends the way you have shown love and mercy to me. Amen.